Welcome to our study called I Will. And we're looking at Genesis 17, 1 through 8 this week. So as we begin to look at Genesis chapter 17, we need to remember some things. We need to remember the context. Back at the beginning of the story of Abram, God called him out of Ur and gave him some promises. Abram went through some trials, his faith wavered, and then God appeared to him. But God established his covenant with Abraham. So God cut the covenant with Abram, saying in effect that if he failed to uphold his promises, then what happens to the animals should happen to him. Of course, God never fails, and so that's not an issue. But God is impressing upon Abram that this is serious. He's doing everything to reassure, to confirm, to reaffirm the promises that he makes to Abram. Then you get to Genesis chapter 16, where we saw Abram waver in his faith again. Okay, remember he's a normal dude, and so his faith goes up and down. He's wavering here in chapter 16. Instead of waiting on the Lord, he decides to go with Sarai's plan that she came up with to have him basically marry Hagar and then have kids through her, which not only does not fulfill the promises of God, but causes all kinds of problems in his family. Again, not a shining moment for the friend of God here. So, as you read through chapter 17, there is a phrase that is repeated over and over by God. It is, I will. God says, I will 12 times in this passage. In the paragraph we have before us, we have 5 instances of I will. Along with these I will statements are several shall statements. Do you kind of get the feeling of what is happening here? Are you starting to get the setting and the tone of what we're reading? There is wavering going on. There's a wavering of faith, and then comes words from the Lord of I will. I will do this. I will do this. And then he says, this shall happen. So we need to keep this idea in mind as we walk through the passage. And I've divided this passage up into 2 sections for us. In the first, God appears to Abram in verses 1 through 3. What happens? Why does God appear? And then in the second section, we find that God renames Abram to Abraham. We'll see that the covenant promises are beginning to unfold more and more, and we'll go to Paul for some explanation as to what's going on here. So come back next time, and we'll start looking at verses 1 through 3.